here with our morning meditation. As always, I am always excited to share these messages of inspiration and encouragement with you because I have found myself in the same place that many of you have found yourselves, carrying the weight of the world, challenges on every hand, looking after family, working in my career or job, and sometimes we need inspiration and encouragement along the way. And so we have developed these inspirational words, these messages in the morning to help you with your week and to help you with your day. And so we're grateful for you because we want you to know that you are loved, you're appreciated, and you're irreplaceable. Now to our morning meditation. Today's morning meditation is entitled, Is This It? In fact, let me say it a different way. This is it, or this is it. I juggled around with the title a little bit this morning because I'm aware that many of us in various points in our lives have faced moments that were filled with excitement and anticipation and all the things that come with finding yourself at those seminal moments in life where everything seemed to be able to change. Perhaps you're like me. You've had a moment in which you couldn't sleep at all at night, the night before an exam or a test or a game, or maybe perhaps you are going for an interview or you had a presentation to make and you found yourself excited beyond words and you couldn't sleep and you couldn't kind of settle down because this was for all the marbles. This was everything. Perhaps it was the birth of a child, or you're going to get married the next day, or in those moments in which whatever it is that you've dreamed about is about to come to fruition, or at least the challenges are before you. Maybe it's not an exciting moment, but maybe a moment that is crucial and you have to face it no matter how much you don't want to. Maybe there is a very serious conversation that you need to have, or maybe the doctors need you to come in as and get the results of a test that you're worried about. Whatever it is, we have these really important moments in our lives that breed excitement, and it causes us to ask the question, this is it? Or to make a pronouncement, this is it. Whatever the case may be, we may find ourselves in those moments and we wonder how we're going to navigate through those very challenging moments in life. And in those moments, we may find ourselves saying to ourselves that I could have done things differently after the fact. After you've come through it, after you've had that moment, maybe you've asked yourself the question, hey, there's something that or you thought to yourself, there's something I should have said, but I didn't say. A decision I should have made, but I didn't make. A stand that I should have taken, but I didn't take. And in those moments, we reflect on those moments that seem so big for us. And we thought that maybe these moments would be perfect. But I would like to say to you, there are no perfect moments. Things don't turn out perfectly. Often we come out of them with more questions or thoughts that we could have done something different or should have done something different. Every now and then we have a moment in our lives where everything seems to be clicking on all cylinders, that we have it together. If those moments come almost as a surprise, but not often in the ways that we planned them. So here, I want to share words of encouragement and inspiration with you because I think in those moments when you have to ask the question or even make the statement, this is it, or this is it, or is this it? It causes us to reflect on where our lives are and what it is that we find ourselves doing. So I wrote myself a few notes here and I thought it might be important. In order to really involve ourselves in these moments that seem to have so much power over our lives, we know that they have all the glitter in the world on them. But after we've come through them, for me, I've come back with some really important reflections. First of all, I've learned to be open in those moments. In other words, I have to be willing to boldly try something new. Those moments that come to us and that when we reflect on them, the reason why they make so much sense, the reason why they are so pivotal is not about the end result of the moment, not about the end goal. Did I do this right or did I do that right? Did I get what I wanted? Did I get that deal? Did I get the job? Did she say yes? Did he say yes? Did the door open for me? Did I get the grade that I wanted? Did I get the job that I wanted? All of that is result oriented. And as we know, when we come through those moments, even when we've gotten the job, or she said yes, or he said yes, or the door opened, once you get in, you come back and say, okay, everything that I thought it would be is not quite what I thought it would be. Is this it? In other words, is there more? Isn't there more to this? I thought this was going to change my life for good. And even in moments where we are on highs, those moments last, but often over time start to fade in the background because we have new challenges and new moments that we have to meet. And so here, I want to encourage you, and I'm moving closer to you because I want you to hear exactly what I have to say here. Being open for the moment is not about the results of the moment, but being willing to be open to try something new. In other words, if you're doing everything that you've done before, the gravity of the moment no longer feels that important. But when you've tried, when you stepped out of your normal comfort zone and you've moved in, even if you're doing the same things, but you are open to new ideas and new experiences and new vision, then it brings all of you to the table. And that is what it means to live life, my friends, to be a blessing and to be blessed by the openness of life. I can't tell you how many times I've experienced things, gone to a restaurant, visited a new place or old place or place that I've known, and never opened my eyes and never was really open to what I was able to see, what I was able to hear, what I was able to experience. You know, I lived in St. Louis, grew up in St. Louis, and I found myself often going to the Fabulous Fox and other places around the city. But after being away for over 20 years, serving in ministry in a different city, in a different state, when I came back, I had fresh eyes because it allowed me to be open to all that my hometown had to offer, like I was a tourist in my own hometown. And I invite you to be a tourist in your own life every single day. You'll discover something new if you're only open. Secondly, I think I wanted to share with you, not only should you be open, but you also should be willing. In other words, willing to show up. And I have found that the hardest thing to do when you have found that you're good at something is to show up fully in it with every part of yourself. But that is the only way that you can turn the is this it or this is it from a question mark to an exclamation point. This is it. And the reason why it is because you showed up for it fully. You showed up for your children's recital to really enjoy it. You showed up for work and had the experiences of a lifetime by engaging in the lives of those you worked with. You showed up at the hospital, like what I do, in the room of a patient to really find myself in that moment with them, living life as if it were my life so that I can understand how they feel and what they're experiencing. I know we can't do that all the time. It's exhausting, it seems. But I want to say to you that life can be drudgery without you really showing up for it. If you're going to have ice cream, you might as well have it and enjoy it. If you're going to have a conversation, you might as well engage in it. If you're going to have friends, you ought to be friendly. If you're going to be in love, then you might as well be in love. If you're going to have moments of disappointment, then you might as well accept the disappointment as it is. In other words, be willing to show up for your life, and your life will always show up for you. Yeah, that's what I said. Be willing to show up for your life, and your life will always show up for you. Lastly, I think it's important, be present. In other words, I've said this before, but I think it's really important to, as we reflect on these things, we know that life is not perfect and things don't turn out the way we think they will. But the beauty is, if you're present, you'll be able to adjust and actually enjoy what life brings. And you can say to yourself, this indeed is it. Sometimes we don't really want to celebrate the moments of our lives. We don't celebrate things. We're moving often to the next thing. Even when we have moments that are great and wonderful, we never spend time really embracing what it is that we ought to be celebrating. We're like, hey, sports is, we won the game. Yes, that's great, but it's off to the next thing. We came through this season. Now we're off preparing for the next season. We are watching our children go from one place to another, and then we're off to trying to get them in college. We find ourselves getting married, then off to trying to have children, and from children trying to get them to the best schools. We find ourselves often always moving to the next thing without celebrating the moment that we're in. And I'm inviting you to really, I'm pleading with you to be present in the moment you're in, whatever it brings. Hardship, heartbreak, laughter, tears, joys, excitement, whatever it is, be present in it, because it's the one life you're given and you won't be given another. And really, today is the only day you have, and you're never promised the next one, and you surely can't go back and fix the last one. In other words, I want to encourage you to really embrace it and embrace life so that you can turn the question mark behind "this is it" into an exclamation point and say, yes, this is it. This is the moment that I've been waiting for, because I'm in it and I'm living my life. I shared this some years ago. I remember I used to be married, no longer married, but I used to be married. And in that moment, we looked around. We took a lot of pictures, and we hired a guy to do the video, and we hired photographers to take pictures. Big wedding. And while we were doing that, we wish we had hired a better videographer, but this videographer messed up the videos. And what we had hoped that we would have time to reflect and look at our videos and pictures and enjoy the moments of of the wedding and the time and the family that was there, we discovered that we're not promised. We could not go back and capture those moments. And it reminded me for my life that there are moments that we're in that while we're picking up our phones and trying to capture it that way, or we're videotaping those things to preserve for the future, that often, in many ways, we are forgetting to live life right now. So we looked around later in years, and we did see pictures, not many years after that, and discovered that my dad had died, and my grandmother had died, and my grandmother's husband had died, and her grandmother had died, and her great grandmother had died, and one of her aunts had died. And while we were there, just or a few years later, discovering that so many people had gone, that we wish we had moments with them to share in those moments. In other words, don't take your moments for granted, and don't rely on a cell phone or a picture or a video or some social media post to actually give you life again and let you experience the moment you're in. Be present for it. And I promise you, as I said, if you're present and willing to be there for life, life will always be present and willing to be there for you. It'll show up as you show up. It'll come to you as you allow yourself to come to it. And that is the message here. This is it. The one life you're given, live it the best you can. Thank you so much for giving us a few moments of your time. We're asking that you would share these messages with others, and that you would give us your feedback on what you feel about them. Hopefully, they're helping you through your day. God bless you. Thank you so much for being with us. And we want you to know, as we always say, we say in the beginning and say at the end, you are loved, you are appreciated, and you're irreplaceable. Live your life in such a way that you embrace it as if it's the one life you're given. Thanks again.